Hello, lords and ladies of the realm. It is I, EmmightySofia, here to break down episode 3 of season 5 of Game of Thrones, High Sparrow. So, spoiler alert, before we dive into the mad thick of things, as I will in fact be bearing all on this review, and also a couple of quick updates and fun things. I am going to be, well, I say this in the future tense, but it's quite possible that the videos are already up. I'm going to be uploading a new song draft of a song that I just wrote the other week. It's called Dance Royale. Again, just a draft, but I really wanted to share this with you guys, my first original song in months, so there's going to be a link in the description when that is up, as well as my review of episode 3 of Telltale Games' Game of Thrones series, The Sword in the Darkness. So, those are both coming / possibly already here. Check the description. But anyways, we are here to talk about High Sparrow. So this was a very dynamic episode. I mean, we got to see a ton of growth, a ton of the Starks freaking taking back the power, which makes me feel super good inside. So I'm gonna very briefly attempt to touch on everything that we have seen thus far. So we got to see a little bit of Brienne and Podrick. Brienne offering some night training to Podrick, as well as a tale of her unfortunate past and why she was faithful in service to Renly Baratheon. Renly, is that? I believe that was his first name. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, but he was so rudely taken out, his life snipped short by a shadow sent by, if you recall, technically Stannis Baratheon. So now we come to learn that there is a bit of an impetus for revenge on Brienne's part, as she is itching to take Stannis out, for she says Stannis is in fact a man, and thus is mortal, and thus can be killed. Valar Morghulis, am I right? So, that is in motion, and she also comes upon the scene of Sansa and Littlefinger, Peter Baelish, entering the Boltons' stronghold, where she is to wed. Of all the suitors in this world, of all the eligible bachelors and lords and that Ramsay Bolton. And while at first I was quite vehemently against this turn of events, as was Sansa in that moment, I believe that this could be the grounds for her pursuing revenge and truly taking a stand for the North, which maybe that is what Peter is hinting at, but at the same time he's trying to make an alliance with Bruce Bolton. There was a lot of political intrigue in this episode, which is something that really resonates with me and that I super enjoy about the show, and I'm thus I have so many positive things to say about this episode that I don't even know I'm gonna be able to fully convey. So pardon me in my speechlessness, or if there's anything that I missed, take it down to the comments and I'd be happy to chat with you guys there. Anyways, so we are starting to glimpse the tip of the iceberg of Peter's plan, his ascension as he climbs the ladder of chaos, and we see that things are a wee bit tenuous as far as the Boltons' hold on the North, especially due to the fact that Tywin was really supporting them and he is now dead. There's not a lot of strength in King's Landing anymore, especially not a lot of support that's going to be flowing out from King's Landing. And so in light of this, Bolton is definitely playing his cards close to his vest and is keeping a very close eye on Baelish and his happenings, and Cersei happened to send him a letter of some kind that is evidently urgent, as she stresses that the immediacy of her request must not be understated. So, lots of things in motion there. Again, Sansa is in the process of learning to play the game, to put on the smile. We see her very emotional reaction as she and Peter come up on the castle what's-it. Definitely looking very... It looked like some haunted mansion straight out of Edgar Allan Poe. Like, that's kind of how it struck me. Again, the visuals are top-notch, especially in this season as we are expanding the geographic scope. So many fun places to look at and to be in and to learn about. But yeah, so even though we see Sansa have this gut emotional reaction, she's able to keep her cool and greet her future husband, who vows to make her happy and never to hurt her, which is something that I have a very difficult time believing. But hey, she's playing the game. And she's back in the North, back home, although it certainly doesn't feel anything even remotely like home, but we are told that the North remembers. Again, all of these things, like, are just the Starks. The Starks are coming back, baby. And we also get to see that, too, with Jon Snow, although he does turn down Stannis' offer of making him Jon Stark. He realizes that, I mean, it's all a gamble. It's sort of like what Bolton and Baelish were discussing. The alliances that we make and the positions of power that are taken, everything is a gamble. And at this point, Jon is gambling on this position as the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. And he certainly knows how to strut his power when he is backsassed by an old guy who refuses to go where he is told. And this is, of course, a very interesting situation, because instead of, per the advice of Stannis, sending Alistair Thorne, I believe his name is, away, instead of sending him away and keeping the enemies at a distance, he decides to keep Alistair Thorne close, and in so doing puts the other guy in this position that he doesn't want to be in, and he doesn't want to do it, and I'm scared, boo-hoo, wah, wah, wah. Ka-chink. Or not ka-chink, I should really know the proper onomatopoeia for how to describe the sound of a head getting lobbed off, because this is Game of Thrones and I've been watching this since the start. But yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. But I am really glad that Jon went through with it, because there have been times in the past where somebody pleads for mercy and he stopped short. And we also, of course, saw him extend mercy to Mance Rayder in that situation. But in this case, he knew that it would not be a very good move for him to spare the life of this sniveling, groveling little pansy, for all intents and purposes. I mean, the guy's like, okay, I'm gonna go, but I think it was the whole, like, I'm scared, and that ends up sealing the deal, and he gets his noggin knocked off. But hey, he had it coming. The guy was being belligerent and childish, and Jon is strutting his stuff. And one of my favorite moments in the episode was Stannis watching approvingly in the distance, and he just gives me like a, yeah, fellow gangsta to gangsta moment. So still this kind of tenuous connection between Jon and Stannis. And, oh my gosh, what's his name? Stannis' right-hand man, the dude, the guy, the I can't remember his name right now, but he tells Jon that Stannis sees something in him and all this stuff, and just I love the position that Jon is in, getting to have this power and to exercise characteristics that have been growing throughout the entirety of the series. It's really satisfying to get to see that pay off, and I know that he's going to have so many struggles coming his way in the future, but as for now, he is establishing himself. He is sinking his teeth into what he wants and what is best in this moment, and we're going to see how that plays out for the fate of the North. It's interesting, too, to see all the opportunities that the remaining Stark children are getting to avenge the North and their families and whatnot. We don't get to see that with Bran yet, but he, of course, is still in the picture. And then that leads me to what's going on with Arya at the House of Black and White, and she is learning to bend the knee to the many... Is it the many-faced god, I believe, is the deity over yonder there. But it's interesting and difficult to watch Arya Stark Staria. I'll roll with it. Our little lady Staria. You know, for as adamant as she is about becoming a faceless man, she has such a strong sense of self. And yet at the same time has been so adaptable ever since the death of her father and everything that she has endured. The woman is she's versatile, you know? And so while we see that could certainly set her up to take on this this new life and to forfeit who she is. At the same time, it's freaking Arya Stark. And so when she is casting away her money, her possessions, her clothing, there is but one piece, one material good, one commodity with which she cannot part, and it is certainly more than a commodity to her. It is Needle, her sword, which was a gift from her father, and which is, it epitomizes her desire for revenge, which in great part is fueling her desire to be a faceless man in order to get back at that list that she has had for so long. And I mean, you could argue any number of reasons why she wants to do this, but at the same time, it's that, in the words of Katy Perry, that part of her that you're never gonna take away from her. And so she buries the sword, casts all a sea, but we'll see just what happens with Needle. As for now, it is in the ground. She is bathing bodies for who knows what, and getting slapped around and sweeping, and all feels very uncertain at the moment, but we are definitely going to be learning more about what this place has to offer Arya and what her transformation is going to look like. And all of this, of course, begs the question, who is she going to interact with in the future? Will she ever see her family again once she becomes faceless? And has, it's quite a sacrifice. And I think that coming up upon it, while Arya insists that she is ready for this and this is what she wants, it makes you wonder what temptations are going to come along the way. And speaking of temptations, we get to see back over in King's Landing, the High Septon is ready to get his freak on. When the Sparrows show up, give him a good old show, he gets pissed, sicks Cersei on the High Sparrow, who is played by the guy who played Elizabeth Swann's dad in Pirates of the Caribbean, so that's kind of cool, and I'm into that. I remember seeing him in one of the previews, and I was excited about that. And the guy is like the Pope who is currently in power. Just an all-around good guy, barefoot, feeding the hungry. He is on the ground level among the impoverished in King's Landing, and Cersei gets to see firsthand that the guy he's freaking on top of it, and he is by no means backing down from exposing hypocrisy. Like he says, it is like a boil, never pleasant in the popping, but sometimes the methods could be adjusted, perhaps. And so he is incredibly honest and forthright and gracious in that respect. And at least that's something that resonates with Cersei, for all of her silliness and things that I find unsavory about her character. She sees that, hey, the guy knows what's up. And I hope that he's going to play a bigger role in the future, because I just like to see a nice guy in the world of Westeros. What more can you ask for? In the meantime, Cersei is having a not-so-delightful time being the mother-in-law to the new queen, who is, having a real good time in bed with the new king. I mean, that was actually really sudden. I was not expecting their wedding to be so soon, and maybe, I'm trying to think of if I even saw the preview for this week, but that kind of caught me off guard. I was like, oh hey, I'm having a little bit of flashback here. And Tommen just breaking the seal, popping the cherry, having a real good dang old time. And pretty much all that he wants to do as king is be the king of his queen, but she is, on the other hand, pursuing something entirely different in this arrangement, which she really flaunts in Cersei's face in a big way. I mean, I've really enjoyed Margaery and her sass, and oh boy, was she delivering it up hot and fresh right out of the oven, and is even hinting at the fact that maybe she's gonna have something baking in the oven, if you know what I'm saying. Popping out those airs, man. Gotta get them sons, but this is bitter wormwood to Cersei, and you almost feel bad for her, you almost do, but you know that, like, there's the whole thing with the prophecy, of course, which I can't get out of my mind, the fact that all this is kind of meant to be, and it appears now more than ever that Margaery is that one that is going to take everything that Cersei loves. And then with Tommen freaking going on a walk with his mom, being like, "Yeah, you like Casterly Rock, right? I mean, you'd be you'd be happy there, mom. I gotta do stuff. I got important things going on, and you're kind of cock blocking me here. Like, can we not?" Because I mean, immediately, it's on their wedding night that Margaery's like, "Oh, your mother. She's always just so present," and Tommen's just like, "Can we just get on to round, 20, whatever, wherever they're at?" But wow, is she a conniving little fox? But hey, I'll be curious as to what exactly is up her sleeve and how she is going to go about continuing to siphon the power away from the Dowager Queen Mother, who will have none of those formalities, baby, because she be the true queen. Or so she thinks. Yeah, but interesting to see the position of power that Cersei is in. No word or sign of Jaime yet, but that is definitely going to be coming, as I think we're returning to Dorne next week. There are things I'm forgetting. There was so much that happened in this episode. So we got King's Landing. We got Braavos. We've got the Night's Watch. I mean, I could not forget. So Tyrion and Varys, actually, their plot certainly escalated a lot more quickly than I was expecting. But I certainly appreciate that, because like Tyrion, I was very anxious for our boys to get out of the box. And sorry, my computer is desperate for my attention in this moment. But anyways, so they arrive in the city, and they actually get to see was that a priestess from the Lord of the Light religion, like Lady Melisandre? If I'm confused, you can yell at me in the comments. But so Tyrion and Varys are kind of weaving their way through, and ultimately are intending to work their way to the Queen, and that process gets very much expedited by the appearance of the long lost Jorah, who I certainly had hoped better things for him than to see him where he was, staring at the naked ass of a prostitute dressed like Dany. I mean, that's a little awkward. I mean, can you think of the guy that you totally friend-zoned going to a brothel and boozing it up around some other chick that's dressed up like you? I mean, this happens in real life. It does. I mean, for some of you, you might not have to imagine very much, but that is the thing that's going on. And then Tyrion, magically and mysteriously for some reason, finds himself incapable of sealing the deal with a prostitute with whom he connects on an emotional level, emotional, mental, whatever. So there's something interesting going on inside of him, and perhaps, I mean, maybe it's something that is tied to his former lover, Shay. I mean, maybe it's kind of flashbacks to that situation and not, I don't know, man. I don't know. Because it's our man Tyrion. He knows what he likes, but in this moment, something just doesn't quite click. And then he goes to the rooftop to relieve himself and gets captured. I was so scared in that moment, because when we see Jorah coming up with, like, a noose, I thought he was just gonna hang him off the side of the building. I mean, no, Jorah, I have had so much faith in you and so much love and respect and sadness, and you can't do that. You can't be, no. But so he thinks that he's gonna get back in the Khaleesi's good graces by bringing a dwarf on over. And I don't know where Varys is in this process, or if he's gonna be able to catch up, or what the crap is actually going on, but they're getting where they want to be, right? Hopefully with mind still intact, so that Tyrion can be a political asset to Dany. But yeah, there's so many things in motion here. Again, anything that I forgot, any glaring absences in my review, I'd be more than happy to duke it out in the comments with you guys. But yeah, just so good and exciting to see all of these things happening. all of these political alliances and how so much is hanging in the balance, and we are gearing up for some huge battles in the future. I can definitely foresee that. I mean, I'm kind of at the same stage even in Telltale Games, Game of Thrones game. That's a lot of games in one title. But, yeah, there's just so much brewing, and I just feel it in my bones. I want to fight. I mean, I don't necessarily want to be there, but I'm ready to watch, you know, so... yeah, that's kind of a wrap. I'm excited and scared, and go Starks, you know. Team Stark all the way, baby. So thank you guys so much for watching my reviews. Always check out my other stuff. Links in the description. Love you all to little bits and pieces. And as always, I will be back before you know it.